pumpkin pie, America's most famous pie in autumn. We are going to make pumpkin pie, right, my sush?
Yeah.
So, you will need one bowl. It cannot be small because you need enough to fill your dough in here.
So,
Yes.
medium?
Medium, okay, yeah. Okay, so I already put my flour in there, so that's good. Okay. We need crust, so we're making that first because you don't want pumpkin pie with non-homemade crust. That's disgusting.
Yeah.
So you would take a cup of flour and dump that in there. We get that later. Actually, my sush, could you please fill that with cold water, please?
Okay.
So next you would need a half a teaspoon of salt. So you put that in there, and then we mix that a little bit with your fork, just to have them used to each other. Then you would need a third of a cup of Crisco, and you want to make sure that it's all nice in there, and you need a little bit more than the preferable third because you don't really want it to be too dry, and this is what makes it nice and wet.
Dry dough is not good dough.
Dry dough is not good dough. So you would loosen that up, and then you would cut that in half because you want to make sure that it's equally separated, and you need to, not yet. Okay. And then you would take your handy dandy dough blender and just mix that into the dough. Like this. Well, into your mix of dough. But yeah, we don't have to be perfect. So you would make sure that this is all good, and once that is nicely incorporated, with a little bit of chunks, nothing too big or too small, you would fill and put in the rest of, we don't need sugar.
Oh.
It's okay.
I'm getting ahead of myself.
Yeah.
I'm just an ambitious
Then you
chef.
would, yeah, you're very ambitious. I need to calm you down. Then we would take the rest of the Crisco and just put that in there. And it's okay if you get your hands dirty. I washed my hands, so yeah. And then you would just mix that in like so. And then once it's all nice and mixed in, you would take your cold water, and it should be cold because cold water is best. So you take a tablespoon and you dump that in, and then take another one and you mix that one like around. You just drip all that. Good job. And then next one, you do the same thing as you did with your second one because that's good. And now you you don't dispose of it, but you don't use this anymore, and you get a fork and you just mix that in very nicely because you don't want it to be too wet and you don't want it to be too dry. You want a nice happy medium. What is perfect. So you would just mix that in, and you just mix it in with your fork. His fork is better than anything else. And then you will touch your dough to make sure it's not too dry or not too wet, and it is perfect right now. So I will just continue to mix it with my hand. And Ashleigh, my sush,
Yes?
would you please grab the flour? Okay, my sous chef, Ashleigh, is going to take the flour, and she's going to take like a nice handful of flour and just rub it against, you don't need too much, so that is good. And then you just rub that all along there, make sure that's all nice and good. That's way too much. It's okay.
This is why I'm a sous chef.
This is why you're a sous chef. You're helping. So your dough should be getting into a nice Play-Doh sense. So you just mix that a little bit. Mix that a little bit. And that should be good. I think I I need a little bit more water. Could you please get me like maybe an eighth or so of water? Okay, so your dough should be getting all clumpy, which is a good thing. And so you're gonna get rid of your fork and take your hands and now mix that all together with your hands. So you know for sure that it's nice and good to be dough. And it should feel like either a magic sand or Play-Doh, and it feels very nice. Right, Sush? Very nice.
I haven't felt it, but
Feel it.
yeah, that's nice.
Yeah. She's new, it's okay. So you just take that and all nice and doughy. Okay, and then we will put that away. Please take that, my Sush. And now we have a cookie sheet that has nice leveled flour on it. So you would mix that in so it's all nice, and you just keep folding your dough because you don't want it to be too, I don't even know what the word is. You don't want it to fall apart, pretty much. So you would just do this. You just fold it in, you know, like clay. And that one scene from Ghost. Need a rolling pin?
Y'all get your rolling pin. I don't know.
Okay,
what rolling pins
my
are.
sous chef is finding my rolling pin.
We're gonna pause
Okay,
now.
now you would take your rolling pin and just roll it out. You go from the middle, and then the top, and the middle, and then the back. And then you do that. And then you go to the other side and do that over there. And then you just keep doing that until it's kind of rolled out a little bit. And then so you're just gonna take your rolling pin and roll it out into a nice circle. Now that you have your dough all nice and flattened, you're gonna put it in the pie pan. I usually do it with a rolling pin, but since we're on a budget here, it's the first episode, we're fine. I'm just gonna do it the way that my mom does it. Which is not the way that I like to do it. You know what? No, I'm gonna use this.
We want to keep that.
Sure. Like, we're not gonna be perfect here.
I'm gonna cut that out. No, I'm gonna like stop it.
I got an idea.
What?
Okay, so you have your pie in your pan. You're gonna have to make sure that it looks good because you want to make sure that your family knows that you made it. That it looks like it's made in a restaurant, but it's not. It's made in your kitchen. So you would just make sure that that looks all nice and good. Make sure that there's no holes in it. Sorry. Okay. So, next is the pie filling. And that's going to be great. You will need 2 eggs. So I'm just going to crack that in here. Did you touch this? Thank you. Oh, that has 2. Wait, is that 2? Never mind. Never mind. And then just dump that in too. Please and thank you. And you're going to whisk that in a pre-whisk it so it's all nice and mixed up for your other ingredients. The next you're going to need is about 1/3 of sugar, or actually 2/3 of sugar. 2/3 sugar. Now you would take your sugar and dump that in. You need about 2/3 of that. So we're all good here. We're going to mix that into the egg mix and make it all nice and incorporated. So that should be good. It should look like yellow. Yeah. Okay, so we need sugar. We need a teaspoon. That's a tablespoon. That's 2 teaspoons. We need a teaspoon of cinnamon. So I'm just gonna take that and take the cinnamon. we're going to dump that in there. Okay, we're going to take a nice whole can of pumpkin. We're going to take that out. Could you please dispose of that? Thank you. I'm going to take this and grab a knife and just dump this whole thing in there. So now that you've taken all your pumpkin, you're going to dispose of this, and we're going to put this over there, and you're just going to mix that into your mixture. And you're going to want to mix fast on this to fully incorporate your ingredients. Mix that in there, and it should be fully incorporated. You will know that when it looks like a nice orangish brown. So you're going to take your evaporated milk, you're going to shake that, shake, shake, shake. Then you're going to make 2 holes with this. I don't know what it's called, so you're going to have to Google that. Just going to make 2 holes because you don't want bubbles, because bubbles are the worst thing you can have with your evaporated milk. So you're just going to pour that in, like so. So now you're going to take your evaporated milk, you're just going to slowly mix that because you don't want anything to splash. And you're just going to mix that in a little bit. Good. Should be good. Okay. You're going to have your, you will need salt. Half a teaspoon. Half of a teaspoon, that's an 1/8. That's a 1/4. That's one. What the heck is this? What is what?
Do you want me to help you?
I'm fine. You need a half a teaspoon of salt. We're gonna take a half a teaspoon of salt, and we're gonna put that in there. Make it nice and salty. And we're going to take our ground cloves, and we need a 1/4 of a teaspoon of that. Fourth of a teaspoon of ground cloves. So, just like that. And we're gonna mix them together. It's gonna be good. It's gonna look like liquid, like pumpkin pie, but what it would look like if it was liquid. Okay, now that you mix that in, you should have a nice liquidy pumpkin pie filling. So now my souche is going to give me my pumpkin pie crust. It's just gonna be right there, and you wanna pour it in the middle so it can equally disperse out, like so. It's all nice and perfect. Okay, we're gonna open up our preheated oven that was preheated to 425, and we're gonna put this pie in here. Make sure not to burn yourself because that is bad beans. And now you're going to time it for about 20 minutes because you want to get those eggs nice and cooked. And now you want to bring your pie back down to 350 and start it for about 40 minutes so that can just cook right there. And now it is baking. And now your pie is all ready. It won't be jiggly, but if you give it time to dry for about 10, 20, maybe even 30 minutes, it will be all nice and good to eat.